Welcome to the 10th episode of MT Creations Create. I know episode 9 isn't done, but I don't want to wait for that to be done because this idea is something that I really look forward to working on. Today, we're making a diorama of MT painting something. Backstory time! Just a year ago, I made a diorama for a class called The Kitchen. It's also episode Pigeon of MT Creations Creates. That diorama was really fun to create, and I wanted to make a new one. So I bought these tiny canvases and these little easels, and I just really wanted to make something cool with them because I really love miniature stuff, and it's a tiny canvas on a tiny easel, and I could paint something on the canvas, and I just thought of this idea. My mind settled on a little display where a little model of MT stands in a room painting a picture. Now I know I'm not really like a painter, but I just thought it'd be really cute. Maybe he's like coming up with ideas or painting an idea. I mean, I do have an actual like proper big easel, and I've been meaning to get into painting. So, who knows? Even if I'm not a painter, maybe making this will inspire me to do some actual painting for once. I already got a concept drawing, and I think it's ready to be modeled. So this is the little concept drawing. It's a little hard to see. I know my lines are very, very thin, but the idea is that MT stands in the room and he has a little paintbrush, and this is gonna be the easel and the canvas, and it's gonna just be in this little like room. I'm not gonna really model the room after anything. It's just gonna be a room with all sorts of like maybe a drawer and a desk and papers on it referencing my other creations. It's just going to be like a general little like painting art studio for MT. Maybe I'll model it after like my dream art studio. I don't know. I'm just going to come up with it as I go along, because I'm not really specific on the concept. All I know is that I just want to create a room with all sorts of details. I want to use this, and I want to create a 3D printed model of MT that's going to be painted, and I think I'm actually going to like get some fabric and sew on a suit onto him so he looks realistic. Maybe if I'm crazy enough, I'll experiment with making him a little wig or something. I remember trying that on my Catalina posable figure. But the hair did not come out looking that right on that one. So if I might just have it painted at first, and if I find something that'll work for putting some sort of hair on it, then I'll go with that. He's gonna need a tail as well. That's what I'm gonna be going for. That's the idea. So we're gonna go ahead and model our MT model. Wow. Hi, MT from the future here. Dang, it's been a while since I actually thought about this project. I know this is a very sudden thing to drop right in the middle of the video, but I kind of put this project off for a while. Since before I had 2 monitors and a brand new, much better quality webcam. So I don't really need to do much explaining. Past MT already did all of that. So we're just going to model MT. I already have a good MT model. I think we're going to use that and pose him and 3D print him. So I have this little easel still here, and I have my plans still here. And I wrote down some measurements. So what I discovered here was that this little easel is about nearly like 13 centimeters tall with the canvas on top of it. My printer can only print up to 15 centimeters. So I think MT here, we're going to make him around 14 centimeters tall. So he's just going to be a tad taller than the canvas, but he should still be able to be at a level where his arms can reach the canvas and paint on it. So I'm still going to go for the same pose that I have him here. I'm going to give him a little paintbrush and everything. And the room, we'll decide that when we get there. Alright, so I already got the 3D printer space set up. So I just loaded up my empty house model. Still does need a lot of work. I sure gotta finish this project. Here's empty. I'm just gonna grab him. I'm gonna bring him all the way up over here so I can select him and copy him. Now we have our empty. Oh geez, he looks horrifying. Okay, he needs to be not that tall. So we just need to pose him like I did in the drawing. I could probably actually take his suit off because yeah, I don't need that. I don't need all the extra like neat blender stuff, so I can take his hair off, all his like fur and stuff. So we only just need the base mesh. We just need all that. Also the face, I think I was originally gonna model in the face, but I feel like to better match the way it looks on the model, maybe I'll look into painting his face or just putting stickers on his face and just seeing how that looks. And if I ever do want to make a modeled face one, I can always reprint him. I have no problem with doing that. So time for the posing. So he has one of his arms out like this. I actually had another pose that might work better. Now that I realize, sometimes these things, you're just working on it, and you think it's gonna look right, but ends up not. And you just need to try it again. And that's okay. Sometimes I think something is gonna look right, but it just doesn't, and you know, that just happens. So it just means that I'll have to do something better. So I had this alternate pose, and I think this one will actually work better. If I pose him like this, it'll be much easier to sew his clothes on, and he'll hold the brush and stuff here. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the brush. I don't know if I'm gonna model it onto him or maybe find like a miniature brush and give it to him, or like glue it onto his hand. I'm actually not quite sure yet. It's likely I'll model it separately because for some reason MT's suit covers his hands as well. So that's actually better. I think that works better. I think I just need to stance his legs a little bit. He's always got some type of stance. I'm gonna turn his head just to make it interesting. His ears as well. There we go. I think that looks good. I don't know what to do with his tail. Let's see. His tail. I hope his tail will be able to be modeled alright, or print alright. I want it as close to the ground as possible, so it doesn't like the supports. So there doesn't need to be like way too many supports under him. I think that looks okay. Maybe this leg can be a little flatter, so I can put him on the ground a little easier. That should do it, because I'm gonna have to glue him to the floor. So I think that's it. I think that's our empty. Okay, model here actually looks pretty great. He's really well detailed. I flattened his feet so he'd probably stand better. Although I have no idea how balanced he will actually be. I gotta wait and see. He's gonna be glued down anyway, so it won't matter. But I think he's looking good, and I think he's ready to be printed. Let's just go for it and see how it handles itself. Print. Alright, there he is. We have empty, completely 3D printed, And he's ready to be sanded down, painted, and have his clothes sewn on him. And as mathematically calculated, he stands to scale to the little easel and canvas, so perfect. As an added bonus, I got the fabric to sew his clothes on and the thread, but that comes later. I am super happy with how he turned out. This is a great model. It's the great scale. He just needs his props, well, after he's all set up. And then I'm going to put him in a room, a little room, probably that big, just so there's some space to have some junk in the back and stuff. So I think that's our next step before I actually work on him, is to kind of design the room and the space he's going to be in. So I'll just kind of take some measurements and throw something together in Blender. I have the MT model right in front of me on my desk, and I measured it out, and I think this thing might be, let's say, 24 centimeters in length. If I'm building the floor here, I will want that to at least be half a centimeter thicker. No, actually, I want that to be a whole centimeter thick, because sometimes my printer likes to warp flat objects, and I want to make sure it won't really hinder it that much. So we'll just do a whole 1 centimeter of thickness. 24 centimeters in length should be good. And let's see about width of the room. Oh wow, I'm looking at like maybe 13 centimeters. It might be a tight room. It might be a tight room for MT here. Unless I can get away with 14 centimeters. Maybe I'll do 14 centimeters. With the wall, I can get away with half a centimeter. And we'll want it to be maybe 18 centimeters tall. This model is definitely going to have to be split up into parts, so it'll all fit in my print bed, but we will take care of that soon. Just line this up here. It doesn't need to be exactly perfect, obviously. There we go. Okay, and this room will just be split into parts. And now I should probably decorate the room. An MT should fit in this space. Okay, I actually drew this area, the floor area, on a notebook to scale, and it looks like it'll fit, and I will actually be able to maybe add in some extra details, like a little table or something, or a drawer. So I will just add in those details, and we'll see how this turns out. Got my little room figured out here. I'll have a door, it's got the trims and stuff, it's got this little drawer as well. So now I just gotta join this whole thing and cut it up so it'll fit my 15 by 15 by 15 centimeter limit on my printer. Here it is cut up. Each piece should fit within the 15 by 15 range, and I subdivided them properly. I just filled them all in as they should be. This should work. This should be fine. Now the important bit is I'm now going to come up with these little tabs that'll let each piece fit together and get glued down properly. Alright, I got those tabs in. Now all I gotta do is make these tabs. Since I cut them into these meshes, they need to be a little smaller so they'll actually fit when they print. It does not need to be perfect at all. I just need these to fit, and I'm gonna glue them down as well, so if there are any gaps, it doesn't really matter because the glue could fill them in. And it's all gonna be stylized. It's gonna be the same as the kitchen. I might make I might make the actual wallpaper to go in on it, and the carpet as well. that should just about do it. I think those tabs would really keep it together, and I think now they can be exported and printed. I'm now ready to print the first piece. I have it all at 3% infill with some supports because of this down here. And I think it looks good. I think it's ready. It's gonna take 7 hours, so this might be an all-night thing. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I have 2 pieces of the room already printed. I have the bottom of the door, the top of the door, but I have a bit of an issue. It's very heavily warped. I think I'm just gonna fill in the gaps with glue, but for the next few prints, I'm gonna really try and see if I can fix that warping issue, because I had to cancel the beginning of the next print because it got so bad, it was warping so bad that it was literally like stopping the printer from continuing with the print in certain areas. Like it would like get stuck and go brrr, and then continue, and I don't want to break the printer, so I had to cancel it, waste a bit of filament. That's just how it is in the 3D printing world, unfortunately. I'm gonna take this chance to fix the warping issue and see if maybe I can slow down the speed of the print and change the temperature, or just do what I need to do to fix it. How the heck did that happen? We have all of our parts printed, and this is a mock-up of what the room will look like when it's glued together. So now I guess that's the one thing left to do. Oh, and I need to 3D print some drawers too. So this is basically the diorama, except the room will be filled with some more things, maybe some like canvases against the wall, maybe some posters on the wall, obviously some special small stuff on the counter here and drawers. So we'll see how that turns out. I got all the, now every single piece is printed. The drawers actually fit. Now I just gotta glue it together. I didn't really explain it in the video yet, but I had to cut this piece in half because there were some really bad warping issues. There's still a little bit of warping, but not as bad as what happened to this guy here. So once this warms up enough, I will start gluing these pieces together, and I could just fill in the cracks and everything. This bit up here, I didn't realize that most of my that my camera was tilted down a lot, so this thing is still imperfect, but that's okay. I think it adds character. I'm gonna try and glue this bit together a little better. That's good. And the drawers, of course, they don't need to be glued down. They're supposed to be free, so you can actually use them. So that should be all the room parts put together. I think the door frame should be fine. I don't think I need to really fill in the cracks there. Maybe the painting it should cover that. Here's the basic diorama. Like you have there. I mean, it might be a little difficult to access the drawers with the easel in place because it's such a small, tight space, but I don't want this diorama to take up too much room. And then he just kind of sits there. He can kind of just stand on his tail or balance on his tail. That's it right there. Now it just needs to be perfected. MT still needs his little suit. It needs to be sanded down and painted. I need to add carpet to this little room. And then it should be all fine. It needs to be painted as well. So we'll paint this first. We'll add the carpet, add the wallpaper, and then all the extra details come in afterwards. Here's an update on the painting status. The drawers, little cabinet here. I don't know what to call it. Just some drawers. I think the paint is good on that. Maybe if I can replicate the color, I'll give it another coat. We'll talk about MT in a second. The door, I think I was trying to go for a darker brown and it ended up being very red. So I'm gonna have to repaint the door. I think the trims here, or whatever you call it, they look nice and white. The floor and the walls do not need to be painted because I'm gonna give this some wallpaper. And I'm gonna give this some carpet, which I think I'm gonna go for this one because the wall is gonna be the MT colors, like a striped pattern of the blue and red. And I think this might go very well with it. MT here, I tried to sand him down a little bit and his tail's coming off. So I'm gonna have to figure something out to prevent that from happening all the way. But I don't think dropping him is gonna help the situation. So, MT, I tried to sand him down a little, and I think I smoothed his face out pretty well. I mean, that's really the only place that matters, because the rest of him is gonna be covered in fabric. The hair definitely needs to be repainted, and I gotta find a better shade of brown for his hair, because it looks a little too red. Same with the ears, so he just needs a few more coats of paint. The tail, I think, is fine. I'm scared to touch it because it's kind of breaking off a little bit. I know it can be glued back, but I want to try and keep him as nice as possible. Although I have a prediction that it's going to come off while I try to put his clothes on. So I'm going to try and find a right skin color for his face and paint his hair more and fix that door. Gotta color the doorknob. And maybe one more coat of brown. Unless it looks good. I can't tell. I mean, the paint job's not the best. Maybe I will give it one more coat. And then we can work on the wallpaper design and the carpet. Before I get to more painting, I'm actually gonna print a bunch of stuff for MT's room. He does need his paintbrush, his color palette. I added a Jimmy, some paint bottles, and a picture frame so I can hang something up on his wall. I also need to finish up this spool so I can put in my new one, so might as well. Another painting update. I got a lot done. I think I got MT's colors pretty close. Oh, shoot. And of course his tail cracked again. But that's okay. I know it's gonna come off anyway. I can't prevent it. I'll just glue it on later. So that's MT there. He's looking good. And I got these little paint bottles and stuff. I got this little mini Jimmy. It is actually a mini version of the My Jimmy, if anyone knows that from my channel. This little color palette. Little paintbrush, which needs the tip of it colored. What else do I have here? Oh, paint bottle escaped. All this stuff does fit in the drawers. So if I ever want to move this around or carry this anywhere, it can come with me as I put all this stuff in the drawers. The paintbrush can go in there too. I will come up with more little props and stuff to put around. There will be, I think when I display it, the little bottles will be up here, just sitting on top of here. Same with Jimmy. And I'll just put other random, very small props to go in the drawers so you can open up and see what's in them. So there's still more to be done. Still a lot more to be added. I also have this little picture frame with this cute little picture of me and Rosella. If you guys remember my Billy Bob's Wonderland video where I took my friends to go see the Rocket Fire, that's where that's from. So that'll just be hanging there. But that'll happen after I put in the carpet and the wallpaper. I think the paint job is good. I don't think I need to add any more for the room at least. Maybe empty. Maybe could use more coats. We'll see. But I think the room is ready for the carpet and the wallpaper. Update. I added the wallpaper. It's kind of janky in some places. I'm not completely happy with it right now. It was kind of a pain to install, and the light comes in and shows that little bit there. So I don't know if maybe I'll just put a piece of paper on the back of it and just cover it, and maybe that'll help. I don't know. I burnt my finger on the hot glue trying to put this on, so I think I'm just gonna install the carpet and see how things go from there. Okay, big update. I actually set it up and I think it looks pretty nice. I think the little square there in the back, as long as there's not any light coming from the back of it, then I think it won't show, and I think it'll be fine, because if I cover up with my hand, like, it doesn't show as much. The carpet looks great. Like, you'd really have to look for the little inconsistencies, but that's okay. It really doesn't matter. This is basically what the setup will be. Maybe some more junk in the back, more props, and I want stuff hanging on the wall. I'm thinking about maybe making like a tiny cork board. I haven't decided yet. I want to hang something on the door as well, and just kind of scatter all sorts of art junk in the room. So I honestly, after putting in the carpet, setting it up, I think it looks great. I'm now in love with it, and I can't wait to continue on.